What's up, guys? It's Wheezy here, and welcome to episode 21 of Pay to Glory. Team of the Year pack openings were absolutely massive, and we've got a huge one here for you today. But before we jump into this, if you guys could leave a like down below on the video and subscribe to the channel, I appreciate you guys helping me grow the channel. It's been awesome so far. So episode 21, we're going to start off by doing our massive pack opening. I think we did two sets of 125k packs, so you guys are going to see those here. And then we're going to jump into some of the gameplay because we do pack an icon. So you guys are going to see the icon and see him in action actually as well too. We also did a couple of the SBC icons for the lone players. So you guys are going to see those as well. So as we jump into the actual packs, the first one here, we did a first set of 5. We did these on Saturday, I believe. We didn't get any massive players in the first set. The second set was way better than the first set, definitely. You guys saw the first player there was Ivan Perisic, and then the second one here, we get Benzema for the second time. I think we packed Benzema in our last pack opening, or sorry, we packed him over Christmas in a Futmas pack. So those Futmas packs were actually paying out really well. Because he is a duplicate, we're just going to sell him on. I could have kept him on the trade pile and sat there and waited for an icon SBC that I wanted to do, but I know he would have just burned a hole in my pocket and I would have been sitting there like, you know, wanting the coins. So I figured I would just sell him too. I just convinced myself to sell him to make as much as I could as quickly as possible and then just sit on the coins. So by the end of everything that we're done, we're at about 800,000. We also packed an icon, as I said, as well. So we have those coins sitting there as an asset in our club. So we could use that in an icon SBC if we wanted to, or we could you know, sell them off and maybe just, again, sit on the coin. So in the gameplay, I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about some of the ideas that I had for the club and kind of where I want to take it, because I do want to use the coins. I don't want them sitting there, like I said, burning a hole in my pocket, but at the same time, I also don't want to waste them. I know that players are actually still quite expensive right now, especially a lot of the Team of the Years. I just expect them to go down and down and down. You know, right now there's a huge hype. People are paying, I think, overpaying for like fresh versions right now. So if I can get, you know, a decent version of one later on in the year, I'd be willing to hold off on my need to get fresh cards in order to get just a good quality version of one. As you guys are seeing here, our first pack run, we packed a lot of duplicate guys that we had in the club. Some big names: David Silva, Benzema, Azpilicueta. You know, these guys are guys that I would have been normally happy to get because they just give us more assets that we can sell off, but we had them all in the club. You know, I feel like I'm packing just like duplicates of guys that we already have, so it's kind of a little frustrating in that sense because these big boy packs, I expected some bigger things. With that being said, I was happy with the return that we got. You know, they are expensive, and overall, I just want to say, kind of as a caveat to that, I'm not happy with the return that you get for your value on your money. I think it's terrible to think that you'd get a 25k or $25 essentially a pack for these 125ks, and you'd essentially get almost nothing. But with that being said, I saw some big YouTubers spending between 5 to 10 grand. They were spending 500,000 to $1 million FIFA points, some of these guys, and packing maybe 1 or 2 Team of the Years. It was really disgusting. And even some of the cases, you know, I saw Castro packed Ronaldo on stream, and then it had Javier Hernandez next to it, so it almost made you think that something was a little rigged there from EA. Maybe they were watching the stream and they decided to rig one of his packs. I don't know, just throwing that out there. But you know, either way, like, you know, I saw him spending thousands of dollars and he was getting nothing. I saw Chris MD, he did a huge pack opening where he was, you know, packing guys left and right, and they were just 84s and belows. It was giving me anxiety at the idea that he was just discarding like Antonio Valencia and Dele Alli and these guys, but at the same time, he packed, I think, Sergio Ramos and Benucci, and he probably spent close to 10k. Like, he was just going pack after pack after pack, and then just using his coins as well to just rinse those through. So he was just spending so much money in coins in like a massive pack opening that like him and Rhoda Shaw do. They do like these huge pack openings where they just show you the highlights. But Chris MD was actually just live streaming his, and to see the amount of coins and money that he put into the game and the return that he was getting was just disgraceful. So I felt okay with the return that I got, considering I got one icon and essentially 10 or 12 packs or whatever I got. So I was actually okay with that. You guys also saw there I did the Ronaldinho loan SBC. I don't really have much. I don't want to say no interest in Ronaldinho. I love Ronaldinho. He's, you know, one of my favorite players of all time, watching him in his prime. But I don't really have much interest in doing his cards simply due to the fact that he's left forward. So the left forward card is just one that I can't use. I don't want to go to a 4-2 or 4-3-2-1. I've tried, going to wide formations in the past, and just like I end up coming back to a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. So I don't want to get stuck with a card that I have dumped a whole bunch of money in and decide that the formation doesn't work for me. I'm just going to stick with what works, and it sucks that we can't use Ronaldinho, especially because of the first couple games that I used him off stream. He was or off camera, he was awesome. He really felt good. If you use a formation where you can use that card, I highly recommend it. He's probably even worth the 2.8 if you have those coins, but for me, I just don't. That would be a lot. I would have to probably get rid of Maradona and maybe even Lothar Matthäus, or at least one of them, in order to do it, and I'm not prepared to do that at this moment. So as we come into our second set of packs here, these were on Sunday morning. I start off by getting Informed Mario Lanzini. Not a massive pull, he only goes for like 20-something K, but a card that I'm actually excited to use. He looked like a really cool card. I used his normal card at his base card at the start of the year. We also packed company there. But I used Mario Lanzini's base card at the start of the year, and I was actually quite happy with it. I thought it was a really good card to use. He felt really, agile, and he had really good balance, and he was just like a really good kind of skill player. He felt like a poor man's David Silva, but he could also finish too. So the fact that they've bounced up his stats a little bit there to 85 pace, 80 shooting, I'm excited to just try him out. He's not a guy that's probably going to make my, at least my main team. He might make my second team, but, he's somebody that I want to try out. So the second pack, we see a huge flare there, the blue flare. The second time I got that, I thought it was a team of the year at first, and then I saw the Dutch flag, and I actually thought Marco van Basten. And then the big boy comes out there, Frank Rijkaard. I never even thought of Ruud Gullit, which is fine because I actually would have been disappointed if we didn't pack Ruud Gullit. But I was just happy getting an icon. He's not somebody that I probably would have spent the money on, especially when I look at his stats. 70 pace looks really below average, and then 86 defending is decent, and then 81 physical. So he's got decent strength. He's got good defending for a CDM, but his pace is really poor, so I'd have to use a catalyst on it to jump that up, and his passing was very average. But the thing that scared me the most about him was his agility and his balance. So you guys are going to see, we're going to play a full game after this and just try him out. But his stats don't look conducive to like a real meta player in the game. But again, I've said this before, icons are just overpowered in every possible way. So he might be really good. You're not really too sure what you're going to get with an icon. So, maybe he's just an awesome player and he's just somebody that I'll fall in love with. So we'll try him out. I like the fact that, he links up with everybody. He's a guy that, icons are obviously, cards that you can pretty much put in any team because they'll just link up with every single player. So I like that facet of it. But with that being said, I assume that we'd probably end up selling him. It sucks because he sells as one of the cheaper icons. I would have liked to have gotten one of the ones that go for a little bit more. But with that being said, I'm not that concerned with it. Getting a icon that sells for 480 grand is still better than not packing an icon at all. So beggars can't be choosers, and I'm not going to complain about it. I was over the moon getting an icon. It justified the pack opening for me. And if we can use that to potentially get another big player, then I'll be really happy. We also get Alexander Lacazette. You guys know that I love Laka in this game. He's fantastic. He actually scored a goal on the weekend. I don't expect his card to get an inform. He's somebody that I was really surprised has not gotten inform this year. Arsenal has been really disappointing. Also, I'm really interested to know what you guys think about the Alexis swap. I'm over the moon with it as a United fan. Getting Alexis, it sucks losing Mkhitaryan, but Mkhitaryan just wasn't working at United. I like Mkhitaryan a lot. I think he's a real creative player, but he goes missing a lot. In real life, he kind of floats around, and when you have him playing in that central cam role, you can't afford to have a guy floating. Even on the wings, they tried him out on the wings, and I don't know if he just wasn't in shape, or if he just doesn't have the defensive AI to kind of know, AI is not the right word, he just doesn't have the defensive intelligence to figure out where he needs to get back and where he needs to be, but his defensive responsibilities were just always left, gaping at the back. So he wasn't necessarily somebody that fit Mourinho's style, and you could tell by the fact that Mourinho essentially didn't even put him on the substitutes bench for a lot of the matches. So it sucks that they lose him. But a big pickup for Arsenal. I think he'll fit Arsenal quite well. I would like to see Lacazette pick it up as well. You guys know that, again, I'm a big fan of his card in game, and I would like to try his ones to watch. I don't know if it would be a wise investment. At this stage, you can't really go wrong. I'd expect him to get at least one inform still at some point this year. I'm hoping he has a better second half to the season, so you can actually use that card and, get a real stat increase, because right now the card is great as is, but if you were able to get a couple stat increases on like his shooting and his pace, like if you were able to get him up to like 89, 88 like pace and shooting, I think that would be absolutely crazy. That would be a fantastic card to have. So he's great as is, so jump him up a couple stats and you've got yourself one of the best strikers in the entire game. But he only goes for about 260k, I think was the last time I saw him. So every week that goes by, his price drops and drops and drops because people lose patience with it. But he might be kind of one of the guys on the low key as well to pick up. So that was the end of the pack opening. You guys are just seeing here, I'm just kind of going through. I wasn't really rinsing guys to the SBCs. I was more concerned with just getting them in, getting the coins out of them. So what you guys are seeing is I had to discard some of the 75, 76s because some of the higher rateds, the 83s, 82s, 81s, from that last pack, we filled up our transfer list. So I was just trying to make some room here. I wasn't too concerned with doing the SBCs, the 81 plus SBCs. I don't want to dump too many players in it. I just don't think the ROI is that good unless you've just got an infinite amount of players and coins or a pack addict or something like that. But for me, I'd rather have the 800 coins that these guys are selling for in order to just get, the best ROI out of them. So, a team of 8 is essentially or a team of 11 is going to cost you, 800 coins a card on average. So, what are you looking at? You're looking at, close to, I guess, 9,000 coins, about 10,000 coins in order to do one of those SBCs. I'd rather have the 10,000 coins in my club than risk it on the 81 pluses and get, Slimani and Joe Hart, just because that's what you're seeing on the screen there. But for me, selling these guys, you could essentially make another 60 to 80,000 coins on it rather than just dump it into SBCs for untradables. I get that, some guys have packed some really cool stuff, but a lot of people have packed nothing, and I had the feeling that I would pack nothing out of those. Also, I looked at the EPL ones. They're the only league ones that I was interested in doing, and the EPL ones, my issue with them is I've done enough of them in the first round that they had them a couple weeks ago during Futmas that I've got so many of the non-rare cards that are untradable that now 2/3 of the pack is essentially a pack are players that I can't use, so I would just end up discarding them for nothing. So I didn't want to risk doing those and getting nothing. The odds of me getting Kante or Kevin De Bruyne were essentially slim to none, so I figured I would just, cut my losses and sell off the guys that are, worth something, that are just sitting in my trade pile. So a lot of these guys are actually still in my trade pile right now, so I'll probably have to sell them off this week, but that's probably another 40, 50k there. I also want to sell off a lot of my contracts, a lot of those rare contracts. I got about 350 of them, so maybe another 60k there. I just want to build up my coin balance and just let it sit there until I can afford a guy that, I really want. Because there are going to be cards that are going to come out, that are guys that I really want that will fit right into my team. I was thinking about getting Kante. Kante is probably a little bit out of reach, or Kevin De Bruyne, but I saw last night Kevin De Bruyne's price was holding at about 1.8, so that was a little too expensive for my taste. I didn't have too much else in my club that I could really put towards it other than that Frank Rijkaard. So unfortunately, it looks like Kevin De Bruyne is going to be a little out of reach. We probably would have moved Maradona up to striker, but with that being said, I'm fine with my team as is and just holding on to it and waiting for a really good card. Also, a lot of the January upgrades will probably start coming out once today's finished. I don't know if it will be today. I would expect it to be the end of the month. Once transfers come out, that'll be the next kind of big thing for EA to do, is they'll be doing the transfers and January upgrades to help move packs. And there'll be some really interesting cards in there. I saw some of the players on SoFIFA.com, I think, had a lot of the players that were getting upgraded, so go check that out. There were some really interesting ones there. Salah was getting upgraded, I think, by 2. Icardi's one that would be interesting. I was thinking of investing in Mario Kart's second inform and hoping that he boosts up, but that's a little risky as well. So we'll hold off on that. I want to see guaranteed what the cards are going to be, but that's going to be the end of the packs here. So now we're going to jump into a live gameplay so you guys can actually see Frank Rijkaard and Marco van Basten in action. So let's jump into that. Alright guys, so I tried doing the live comm when I was actually recording this gameplay, and it was just, there was too many moments where I was just sitting there like concentrating on the game and it was just poor content. So I thought I would do a post comm with this. The reason that you're seeing me go into the daily knockout tournaments is I did 2 online games, and the issue with online games that I was having was I would either come up against, first of all, it would take forever to find an opponent. It took on average at least a couple minutes. I know first world problems are taking a couple minutes, but it's a long time when you're just sitting there staring at a FIFA menu. And then the second was that I would come up against guys and they would see my team and quit. So the first game, I didn't even touch the ball in the first game. The guy had it, he kind of was passing it around and then slowly worked the ball up, and then I stifled his first shot and then he just quit. So even though I didn't have the ball at all yet, he just saw my team panicked and then quit. And then the third game, I played a guy, I scored twice with Maradona, and the guy didn't like that, and then he quit again. So he had an okay team, he had a usable team, but he just didn't like the fact that he was losing. So he decided to quit out. So here we are in the third game. We went into the daily knockout tournament because I couldn't even find a match. It took me 2-3 times, and I couldn't even find a match in online singles. I'm not sure why people don't play online singles more. I think it's the best way to play FIFA personally. The daily knockouts are fun, but again, these are the 2 modes that really just existed at the start of Ultimate Team. Ultimate Team essentially was just for people that remember the early days, the good old days that I like to call them. I sound like such an old man saying that, but the good old days were just online singles match and tournaments, and it was just really that simple. And that kind of takes me to my point about what I wanted to talk about for the most part of the start of this video, which is Weekend League. I was watching R9 Rise stream last night, and he was playing Weekend League, and there were just such issues with connectivity, and the fact that a lot of people believe that the 5-bar connections that most people have during these dedicated server games for Weekend League I think they're masking it personally. I hate to say that, and I kind of regret saying that to a certain degree, but I feel like they're masking the actual connection with it. I don't like to accuse anybody, especially if I don't have any proof, but you guys know I'm a conspiracy theorist to a certain degree. So I like to, think that, maybe that's possible of happening, just at least ask the questions rather than just taking everybody for their word, because people will lie as much as they can. But, I don't necessarily believe that the connections are always 5-bar, because especially with the amount of packs that were being opened, the servers just looked like they were lagging and people were having issues with Weekend League. So what I wanted to really get across was, if you're having issues playing Weekend League and it's stressing you out, like you're seeing a lot of pros that are quitting competitive FIFA, you don't have to play Weekend League. And that's really what I really want to stress. There's a lot of fun that can be had playing this. Like, I've dedicated my channel to playing casual. Like, you haven't seen one Weekend League game on this channel, and I know some of you might get upset at that, and you might want to see people play Weekend League, and I like seeing people play competitive. I love watching, competitive FIFA in the sense that, the regionals are this week. There's our first goal there with Lothar Matthäus. But the regionals this week are in Barcelona, and I'm excited to watch it. I'm going to be the first person sitting there watching it, and I get it. A lot of the pros need to play Weekend League in order to qualify, but if you're an average Joe, you don't have to play it. And people get really worked up, they get frustrated, and I get it, because at the end of the day, you're only controlling one player on a field of 11, and so is the opponent, and there's just, it's very hard to replicate real-world football and the movement in every single possible combination. There's billions and billions and trillions of possible combinations that could be happening at any time with all these different players at any part of the field. So to say that they're perfectly moving like they would in real world is ludicrous. I mean, that's never going to happen. there's major things in terms of player AI that can be addressed, and hopefully will be addressed in the future. But you guys need to remember, these are just human beings making a video game, and it's not going to perfectly reflect the physics and the movement and how a player looks and reacts on the field exactly how they would in real world football. So it's something that I think people need to remember, and if they're playing weekend league, um, do it with the idea that this is a video game. I don't know. That was an awful touch there. I don't know what happened in that touch there. I didn't hit that. I didn't hit right stick there, so the ball just bounced away from him. But that's a good example of what I'm talking about. If this was a weekend league game, that could be the difference between this guy coming down the field and scoring, and tying the game and winning it. I've watched so many streams and so many YouTube videos of guys playing weekend league, and just especially streams. You see these things happening in real time, and the ball getting away from players, or them taking stupid touches, or just ridiculous things happening, and people get so stressed out about it. And at the end of the day, if you're a pro, I get it, but if you're not a pro, it is what it is. You're playing for more rewards and more online prizes and stuff like that, and I really don't think you need to do it. I understand that people are doing it because they want the best players in the game, but you should be enjoying the game rather than sitting there grinding it out and trying to get every single icon in the entire game. Just go and enjoy the game while you can, because it's only going to be around for a year. You don't want to spend 3/4 of it stressing yourself out and playing weekend league games in order to get the team that you finally want at the end of the year when the game's basically dead. So my suggestion is just, you don't have to be like me and play casual all the time. Go play weekend league if you want. But at the end of the day, what a tackle that was. At the end of the day, you should be enjoying this game for what it is. It's just a video game. So I recommend playing online singles. I loved the original Ultimate Teams in terms of the variety that you would get with teams. I've said that before. Even with the daily knockout tournaments, I'd like to see them just bring back casual tournaments here and there, and just see people, go into it and have different things to play for. I don't necessarily love seasons. I think seasons is kind of like weekend league, but it essentially finds where you are in the totem pole, and you play against guys, and it's just sweat. And I've always believed that there's something other in the coding with seasons as well that kind of keeps you playing as many games as possible. If you're a really good player, you can probably overcome some of the inconsistencies in the game. But if you're an average player like me and you just play enough that you're feeling comfortable playing in some of the higher divisions, you can come up. You guys have seen it in some of my games that I've tried to show you guys. There's games where I don't even feel like I deserve to win, but my team just plays like absolute legends. And then there's other games where I'm playing against a guy who's hardly got 100 chemistry, and he's just got Rashford and Musa up front, and his team will just absolutely destroy me, and my guys just fall through the floor. So there's those types of things that could cause you a lot of stress and could cause you to rage, but there's just no need. It's not worth it. And I know that sounds really cliched to say, but it really isn't worth it. Go and enjoy this game for what it is. Have fun with the players that you can get. It's not that hard to build a team with some players that you'll actually enjoy. So just build that and have fun with that. You don't need to go out and get every single crazy player in the world and have a team that costs 10 billion coins. So you can build a team that can compete and have fun with it, and that's what I suggest, because I still love playing FIFA, and I love the idea of playing somewhat competitively, but I also love the idea more of playing casually. So to jump back into the gameplay here, what you guys are seeing, we came up against this guy in the first round. I didn't really address his team. He was playing in a 3-4-1-2, excuse me, or I believe a 3-4-2-1. A really wide formation. I don't necessarily recommend the wide formation. I don't discourage people from using it either, though. So what I mean by that is, in the past I would have said you're crazy if you're using a 3 at the back formation. It was totally unusable. But now with the way FIFA plays, even though the pace of the game still feels the same, I think it's somewhat slowed down. It's a little less spammy, if you can believe that, than it used to be in the past. You can't just rush around and dribble at high speeds. It's a little bit more realistic in terms of the pace of the game. Just some of the players obviously are just super quick, so people use spam teams, so it makes the game seem a little bit quicker. But for the most part, playing three at the back, your defense will be able to cover, like you should. It affects me a little bit more because I play so narrow, so I'm running right into the center backs. Whereas if you were playing a lot of wing play, you'd be able to get in behind, and then you've got those three center backs kind of, you know, being pulled apart, and the width of the field is something that you can take advantage of. But I'm too stupid to do that. I definitely play too narrow sometimes. It's the way I like to play. It's the way I'm most comfortable playing. So I don't mind the kind of chess match. But with that being said, if you really want to take advantage of a three at the back team, play down the wings. Like look at that. Look at, you guys can see on the field itself, like the amount of space like this exactly. Where you can just kind of get in behind those defenders, because those midfielders, guys that usually play three at the back, usually want a team where they can have Ronaldo and Messi, or Nani and Quaresma, or whoever, just like, because there's a lot of really good wide players. They want to be able to fit all these guys into a team, so they're not always the most defensive. That was a nice play by that guy. Didn't see that coming at all, but a brilliant save by Courtois. But yeah, to play those wide formations, guys want to use these really cool wing players that are really spammy, but you definitely need to know how to kind of break it down as well. So thankfully for me, I was able to outclass this guy to a certain extent. He wasn't a terrible player, but you could tell that he kind of got frazzled in the first little bit. After I scored that second goal, he kind of came out of his shell and he was starting to panic. He wasn't offering a whole lot offensively. He was kind of trying to whip in crosses and get anything he could going like that. Like, those aren't really high quality shots. He was just trying to shoot anything that he could. He wasn't really holding possession that well. But with that being said, I probably should have played a lot better. My team definitely was, I think, the deciding factor in this game. You guys saw it with the first goal, Lothar Matthäus just powering through. The second goal I was really proud of. There's a lot more movement. Antoine Griezmann definitely, getting in behind there, was able to slip a shot through. So that was definitely beneficial. And then I was able to relax a lot more. So with Frank Rijkaard as well, the other guy that I wanted to address, obviously we just packed him, so I wanted to talk about how he felt. I was expecting him to be very clunky and very... nice finish there by Van Basten. I was expecting him to be really rigid, like not super agile. He's got really bad balance, really bad agility. And when I put that pace card on him, the pace cards are a little deceptive. Not a pace card, but I put a catalyst card on him, so his pace jumped up. So it became 82 acceleration, 82 sprint speed, supposedly. But I usually don't feel it. I usually don't feel like the guys jump up that much in pace, but it actually felt good with Frank Rijkaard. His positioning felt a little bit off. Sometimes you get caught out of position, but this was just one game. But for the most part, he felt good. He felt solid in the back there. Is he worth the coins over Bakayoko? No, he's probably not. Bakayoko did the job and would probably be the card that I would choose if I, just had coins and I need to buy it. But considering we packed the guy, I might consider keeping Rijkaard for a little bit just to see how he does. We can always sell him. He's not going to drop much further than 460 or 450 or whatever he's going for. So I'm not that concerned about losing coins. I mean, we didn't lose coins because I didn't buy him, but I'm not concerned with losing coins in terms of his value. Also, we can always use him in one of the SBCs if there's an icon that comes out that we want to use or we want to do. So I'm happy with that sense. Also, Van Basten was the other guy that you guys are seeing. I don't think I used him in my previous video. Marco Van Basten, in my opinion, really good card from a scoring standpoint. He's maybe the best shooter I've used all year. He's got 94 shooting, including really high finishing, really high composure. I mean, he's a 3-time Ballon d'Or player, so obviously they're going to be putting some really good finishing stats on him. However, the issue that I find with Marco Van Basten is just his speed. He's good once he gets up and going. I think he's 81 acceleration, 85 sprint speed. But that 81 acceleration really feels slow. He really does not feel that quick. If you put a catalyst card, it should help. I don't know if we put a card on him. I think I put a hawk on him, but I'd have to check that out. But everything else feels fine. Like, he's a big guy. He's got presence to him. He can shield fairly well. He's got okay physical, so he can kind of fit the bill in that sense. But with that being said, I don't think that he's worth the coins. Like, I wouldn't recommend him so much. Like, he's only 600k. There's worse players you can do for 600K. I think, the cheapest SBC I've seen for an icon's in the 500s. So, he's not going to cost you that much more. So he is okay compared to other icons, but I think there's better players you can get for 500K or 600K is what I'm getting at. I don't necessarily recommend it. The good news about his SBC is that you don't have to use an icon. So you can do it if you've got a lot of cards in your club and you don't want to waste an icon. He's good in that sense. And he is a great finisher, but like I said, he's just so slow to get moving. He just feels like he really chugs along. Once he gets going, he's all right. But where that's going to hurt you is playing guys. What a finish there by Maradona. Where that's going to hurt you is late in games when almost every player you play is going to counterattack, or not counterattack, excuse me, he's going to ultra attack. So they're just going to rush up the field and really put your team under, which I think you guys are probably going to see in this game as well. Guys just really start pressing and they start pushing you high and your team starts turning the ball over, and you might only get 1 or 2 opportunities to counterattack, and you really need a guy that can shoot into space and really take advantage of space with his speed, and Marco van Basten does not have that. He's going to be too slow to get up and going, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of times where he's just going to get caught from behind, or defenders are going to run the ball down, and you're just going to get stuck with a situation where you could have potentially scored, and you squandered it because you didn't have the speed you need up front. So that was my long-winded answer to Marco van Basten. He's okay if you've got the coins and you love Marco van Basten or want to put together a Holland side, but I think there's better players that you can get that are speedier and quicker. So find somebody that's a little bit quicker. Like Lacazette for me is done. He's a different player, but he's quicker and probably scores more goals than Van Basten would. But with that being said, Marco van Basten did score quite a bit. He scored in pretty much every game I've used him in. So I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit of a hater in that sense because he actually has been quite effective. You guys can see here his dribbling's okay. But, if it was like down to whether you would do Ronaldinho's SBC or his SBC, that's a no-brainer to me. Back to the gameplay, though. Maradona, I can't say enough good things about Maradona. It's gotten me to the point where, I've got about 800K sitting in the bank. I've almost got maybe 900, about 850, plus if I sold that Rye card, I'd have enough money plus enough players sitting in my club that I could potentially do a Maradona SBC if that came out. I'm interested to know what you guys think about that idea. Do you think it's worth it? That Maradona, that prime Maradona is, I think, 91 pace, 92 shooting, something like that. Like, I love this Maradona card so far, but I feel like, his prime would just be absolutely outrageous, even more incredible. So he's definitely become a focal point for my team. Somebody that I would be very tempted to do. I never thought I would want to get rid of this one. I really don't want to get rid of it, but, like I said, with the prime one, his stats just go through the roof. That 1986, that remarkable World Cup run they went on, that would be such an amazing card. Maybe the most dominant performance in any World Cup history, throughout history, is that Maradona in the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. He was so good in that World Cup. So, a piece of history being in your club would be pretty awesome. So we end up winning the game 4-0. You guys kind of saw there the players that we're looking to focus. In the next video, I do want to put Ronaldinho in the squad. So I've been playing around with the idea of Ronaldinho playing in a 4-3-2-1, at least this loan version, and then putting Ricardo Quaresma on the right wing, and then figuring out how to fit them all in there. If I can get a Brazilian, there's not really any Portuguese strikers. I mean, I'm not going to go out and get Ronaldo. So if you guys can figure out, any recommendations that you have for putting that team together, I'd probably need icons. I've got the icon midfield with Maradona, Lothar Matthäus, and Rijkaard that I can use. And I'm not going to keep that formation, but just to try it in a 4-3-2-1, just to try Ronaldinho out in some online games. I would like to do that for you guys. You've probably seen a lot of Ronaldinho out there, so I just want to go and, try him out for myself and see how he feels. I've tried him in a couple offline games, and he's been absolutely magic. I can only imagine how good he is using him online. So any recommendation you guys have down, please, or if you guys have any recommendations, please leave them down below, in the comment section. And I would love to see what you guys come up with, because I'm open to trying almost anything. Maradona and Matthäus I'd like to keep. I do like to keep my team on 10 chem, so nobody under 10. But any recommendations you have, I'm all ears for it. So what you guys are seeing here is just some of the packs that we had from our squad battles. We got 10K, and we did pack David Silva, which is a nice little pull because I don't think I packed anything in any of these gold player packs. So that just goes to show you, I mean, I put in limited amount of time. I think I played maybe 4 or 5 squad battle matches throughout the entire week, and I was maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 5 or 6, but not that many, you know, not more than 2 runs of them, like 2 sections of 4 teams. So it got me 10K plus David Silva and some other, you know, usable cards. So I was over the moon with that. He's going to get me, I think, 25K, 26K, maybe even more than that. And then you guys are seeing here some of the players that we sold from our pack opening earlier. So obviously we sold Lacazette, and then all these other guys were kind of going for, you know, 1,000 or less. So I've still got a bunch of stuff in the club that I need to sell there. But if you guys have any recommendations on teams or players that you want me to try out, I'm all ears. I'm open to trying anything I got in the club. I don't want to break the bank. But if there's any kind of like low-rated guys or kind of average-rated players that you think would be a really good fit for the way I play, you know, let me know. I'm definitely open to trying anything and just, you know, mixing it up a little bit just to spice the series up. You guys see what I have at my disposal. If you want me to do a club tour, I can do a club tour in the next episode. That would be kind of fun to just kind of go through and show you guys what we got at our disposal, because I do have quite a bit of stuff just sitting there. Even a lot of loan players. I've got a lot of loan cards sitting there too. So, you know, holler at me. Let me know what you guys think. But that is going to be the end of the episode today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, big pack pulls in the sense that we get Rijkaard, and we got a couple other guys from those jumbo player rare packs, those ultimate packs. But until the next episode, episode 22, I appreciate you guys sticking around. So if you could leave a like down below on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, take care. Peace.